Hello, fellow numismatists and coin enthusiasts. Today, we're examining one of the most fascinating transitional errors in modern American coinage, the elusive 1965 silver Roosevelt dime. What makes this coin particularly intriguing isn't just its rarity, but the fascinating historical context that created this valuable mistake at a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage history. Imagine checking your change and finding a dime that looks ordinary at first glance, but upon closer inspection contains a secret worth thousands of dollars. This isn't just numismatic fantasy, it's the reality of the 1965 silver dime. In 1965, the United States Mint was undergoing one of the most significant transitions in modern coinage history. After decades of using 90% silver in dimes and quarters, rising silver prices forced Congress to pass the Coinage Act of 1965, mandating a switch to copper-nickel-clad composition. This transition wasn't just a minor adjustment, it represented the end of an era as silver disappeared from our everyday circulating coinage. Let's take a closer look at this dime. Notice the date, 1965, clearly visible on the obverse. The obverse features the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinnock, whose initials JS appear at the truncation of Roosevelt's neck. The reverse shows the torch flanked by an olive branch and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. But here's where things get interesting. According to the Coinage Act, all 1965 dimes should have been struck on copper-nickel-clad planchets, appearing as the silverless dimes we're familiar with today. However, a handful of these 1965 dimes were mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964 production. How did this happen? When the Mint began producing the new clad dimes in late 1965, some silver planchets were still in the production line. Rather than halting production to remove every last silver planchet, the Mint continued striking coins. The result was a small number of 1,965 dimes struck on 90% silver planchets instead of the copper-nickel-clad composition that was officially mandated. Now let's talk about identification because this is critical. How can you tell if you have one of these rare transitional error coins? The most reliable method is to check the weight and edge. A standard clad 1965 dime weighs 2.27 grams, but a silver 1965 dime weighs approximately 2.5 grams. Additionally, when viewing the edge of the coin, a silver dime will show a solid silver color with no copper stripe visible, unlike the clad versions which display a distinctive copper layer sandwiched between two outer layers. Another testing method involves using a strong magnet. Silver is not magnetic, so a genuine silver 1965 dime will not be attracted to a magnet. However, this test alone isn't definitive as copper-nickel-clad dimes also exhibit minimal magnetic properties. When we examine the current market value of these coins, the numbers are quite remarkable. While a regular 1965 clad dime is worth only face value in circulated condition, a genuine 1965 silver dime can command anywhere from $3,000 to $7,500 depending on condition. In 2019, a PCGS MS 67 example sold at auction for an astounding $9,200. What's particularly fascinating is how the value has appreciated over time. 20 years ago, these coins were selling for less than $1,000. The increasing awareness among collectors about transitional errors and their historical significance has driven prices steadily upward. Let's take a moment to appreciate this example. Notice the lustrous silver appearance and the sharp strike details on Roosevelt's profile. The hair details remain crisp and the mint luster is evident across the fields. When tilted under the light, you can see the cartwheel effect that is characteristic of silver coins but absent in clad issues. Now, I'd like to share some interesting facts and stories associated with the 1965 silver dime. Perhaps the most compelling is that the exact number of these error coins remains unknown. The U.S. Mint never officially acknowledged their existence, and they were never recorded in any mint documents as separate productions. Estimates suggest that fewer than 50 authentic examples exist, making this one of the rarest modern U.S. coins. There's also an interesting myth that these coins were deliberately created by mint employees as souvenirs of the transition. While this makes for an intriguing story, there's no evidence to support it. The reality of mint operations during this transitional period suggests these were genuine accidents that escaped quality control measures. One of the most remarkable documented finds occurred in the early 1990s when a collector examining rolls of 1965 dimes discovered 3 silver examples in a single bankroll. This kind of discovery is the dream of every collector who still hunts through rolls of coins looking for treasures. Now, let's break down how condition affects the value of these rare coins. As with most numismatic items, condition is paramount. A circulated 1965 silver dime might sell in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. An uncirculated example grading MS 63 to MS 65 could fetch $5,000 to $7,000. The finest known examples grading MS 66 or higher have sold for over $9,000. Even an impaired example showing cleaning or damage would still command well over $1,000 due to the coin's inherent rarity. If you believe you've found one of these treasures, here are some crucial authentication tips. First, weigh the coin on a precise scale capable of measuring to at least 2 decimal places. Remember, you're looking for a weight close to 2.5 grams, not the 2.27 grams of a clad dime. Second, examine the edge carefully under magnification. There should be no visible copper line that would indicate a clad composition. Third, consider the ring test. When dropped on a hard surface, silver dimes produce a high-pitched ring unlike the duller sound of clad coins. However, I don't recommend this test as it risks damaging your potentially valuable find. The most definitive step is professional authentication. Both PCGS and NGC have certified examples of these coins, and their expertise is essential before celebrating your discovery. Considering the value involved, the authentication fee is a wise investment. For preservation, these coins should be stored in inert holders that don't contain PVC or other harmful plastics. Never clean a suspected silver 1965 dime. Even light cleaning can significantly reduce its value. It's worth noting that there are several ways this coin might be confused with more common items. Some collectors mistake normal 1965 clad dimes that appear silver-colored due to lighting conditions or surface corrosion. Others confuse them with 1964 silver dimes, which are common and worth only their silver melt value, currently around $1.50 to $2. Additionally, some unscrupulous sellers have been known to plate regular 1965 clad dimes with silver to deceive buyers. As we conclude today's exploration, I'm reminded of why coins like the 1965 silver dime captivate us so deeply. They're not just valuable metals shaped into currency, they're tangible connections to pivotal moments in our nation's economic history. This particular coin captures the exact moment when rising silver prices forced a fundamental change in American coinage, the end of everyday silver money that had been a constant since the founding of our nation. Next time you're sorting through your change or examining an inherited coin collection, remember the 1965 silver dime. It proves that remarkable treasures can still hide in plain sight, waiting for the observant collector to discover them. And perhaps more importantly, it reminds us that in numismatics, as in life, the most interesting stories often emerge from moments of transition and change. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and keep appreciating the rich history in your hands. Thank you for joining me on this numismatic journey.